I don't remember what was said when I caught you two in bed. But now I sit here drinking shit beer, chasing Johnny Walker Red.
Hi, welcome to Clown Interrupted with KiKi Maroon. That's me. This episode makes me so happy. The first three I talked to people that I actually already personally knew. This was the first time that I sat down with a total stranger. It was really weird for my friends because I was walking around going, oh my God, I'm so excited. I'm going to meet a heroin addict. Not a sentence I thought I would say, but that's where I'm at in my life right now. And I love it. His name is John Rabon. He is a stand-up comic based in Austin, Texas. He just recorded his album at the Velveeta Room, so that'll be out soon. He also has a podcast called Yes, I'm Still Sober, because he was tired of people asking, which I totally get. People ask me all the time, and I understand it. Lots of people take little breaks, or like me, they quit and then fail like 10 times. So why would they assume it's sticking this time? A lot of people will, unknowingly, I guess, say things like, I miss drunk KiKi, or when you fall off the wagon, you better call me. I miss partying with you. I know what they mean, but it's kind of a shitty thing to say. Like, I get it. It was fun. We were crazy. We were jumping off roofs and having threesomes and being kicked out of bars. It was amazing. But also, I was crying myself to sleep most nights and waking up covered in vomit and hospitalized multiple times. I wasn't happy. I was just playing happy. So when people say, I miss drunk KiKi, it's kind of selfish. And I know that people don't really mean it that way because they didn't know everything else that was going on. But I wish that they did know. Because I think saying that stuff is what makes it really hard for some people to quit. Like when you're in just those first few weeks and your friends say, come on, just one. Or, oh, are you still doing that? It fucks with you. So I guess I just want people to know no one quits because they hate having fun. Just don't make it about you is all I'm saying. Anyway, again, I love this episode. It was like a marker for me. Like, okay, this is a thing I'm really doing. I'm not just talking to friends anymore. I'm interviewing people. And John was so goddamn interesting. He was arrested 8 times, including multiple DWIs. We've got time in jail, time in rehab, and lots of time on stage. He quit using a combination of Buddhism and Fight Club, which makes way more sense when he says it. And of course, we talk about dating because I told you that's going to come up a lot. That's just where I'm at right now. Sorry. I hope you enjoy it as much as I did. And here's John Rabon.
And when tomorrow comes around, I may be 6 feet underground, but I'll still have one more for now.
Do you do weed maintenance?
Even before I stopped drinking, I really didn't smoke as much anymore because I don't know, something happened to my brain chemistry where it wasn't fun to me anymore. I just got the paranoid, weird thing.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of people do that, though. Do you?
No. Weed makes me want to do heroin.
Oh, okay.
Also, when I smoke weed, it makes me acutely aware of all my failures in life.
That's what I mean by paranoia.
I'm just like, just the whole like, let's really analyze and become way more introspective. I'm like that, so it's not something. I'm like, I already think about shit too much. I don't need that heightened. That's
exactly how I feel. We're like, or especially like at parties, I'm become so antisocial because I'm like, I'm just in my head and everything that somebody says, I'm like, oh, they think I'm stupid. I shouldn't have said that thing. And it just goes and goes. I don't understand it.
Right. And I've always, from my experience of like talking to different people, because I've had people ask about, what do you think about people who just smoke weed? And I'm like, well, it's more, everything's in your head anyway. Mm-hmm. Like, they say that, like, I consider addiction to be a disorder. People say disease, and that made sense 80 years ago. Mm-hmm. But it's in your brain. I mean, it's all about, in your head. So if you think that weed works for you, it probably will. It's people that are like, I wonder if it's going to, I don't know. And I'm like, you probably shouldn't. Like if you're, because I have friends who, they quit something, either like some hardcore shit or drinking, but they smoke weed, and their attitude is, why wouldn't I? Mm-hmm. And it works for them because they're already in that mindset. So
yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, because when people get very like, oh, but you're not sober. Well, fuck you. Yeah.
Right. It's I mean, that's
Yeah, people get weird.
Technically that's correct, but so you just, I don't drink. Yeah. It's like, fine, I'll be technically correct then.
People get weird when I say, like, at AA meetings, for example, I won't say I love mushrooms, and it's frowned upon. But I've never seen mushrooms as a drug, because it wasn't anything I ever did every day. It was like once a year, this thing happens, and okay, I'm going to go talk to God. That's how I did it.
Well, also, psychedelics aren't what you would consider, it's not a habitual. I mean, I guess for some people, but I haven't met. I mean, I know that there's, obviously there are people that are addicted to everything, but still, it's not something that,
Yeah,
I've
not seen.
I got to do acid, or I can't function today. Like, I've never heard. Yeah, it's like, well, I can't go out there. I got to do a hit first. Like, I don't know anybody that does that.
Well, what did you do? I know that you said that yours wasn't just smoking. I'm sorry, just drinking.
Okay, so what? All right, so what happened was no. So I was I drank for years. Obviously, same kind of thing. Let me see. How do I start? I think the thing is that I really, I didn't start drinking till I was 21. I didn't start smoking cigarettes till I was 20. Like, I really late bloomer kind of a thing. But boy, did I catch up. And I really, when I moved to Austin and got into the comedy scene, I also got into going out to bars and the bar scene and just living it up and going, holy shit. Like, I grew up religious, so it was one of those things that the lifestyle that I immediately got into was kind of hey, stay away, and of course my grandfather was an alcoholic, so my mom was really anti-drinking. Okay. Understandably so. To the point that we couldn't have IBC root beers.
Because it was beer?
No, because it looked too much. It was I guess it was kind of triggering kind of a thing.
Do you think that she had a drinking problem, or it was just through her father?
No, it's because of, growing up in an abusive alcoholic, household. It really,
wow.
And of course alcoholism runs in my family. So but the thing is that I just got into it. And what happened later, I know this isn't exactly chronological, but what happened later is after I became different things, arrested several times for public intoxication, and I'm a convicted felon because I have 3 DUIs.
Oh, I'm gonna ask you about that.
Yeah. And I ended up dating someone who was 13 years younger than me. So I'm 34, she's 21, and she was into pills.
Oh, okay. She introduced you to a whole new world.
It turns out I'm really into painkillers. Turns out I really, really like opiates. I didn't know that about myself, but so I got into heroin for several years.
Do you think that's the thing, with drinking, because it is kind of, it's supposed to be a downer? I got super hot, I would jump around and stuff, but then towards later on it'd be a downer. And I found pills very, very relaxing, and I enjoyed them. And even though I did coke, I never became super cokehead. So I'm wondering if you're just drawn to more uppers or downers. Yeah, I'm definitely drawn to more downers because I remember, because I've dabbled with coke, but I remember one night we at a comics party we had a lot of coke and and I was having an okay time, and then I found out how much it costs, and I was like, you are fucking out of your mind. Do you know how much heroin you can buy for this amount of coke? It's fiscally responsible.
You could tell what my preference was, because I was like, why would you spend that kind of money on this shit? This doesn't, you can drink more, but I just couldn't. I kind of
had a thing of
my head around it.
This is only a little bit better than a Red Bull. I didn't really feel that great afterwards.
And that's definitely your preference. That I think that's definitely what that is.
Okay.
But that's what happened. I never got legally in trouble for heroin. Alcohol was the one that fucked me up legally, And then heroin just was the thing that goes, all right, now we're going to hit downward spiral. Now we're going to really, you're not hitting bottom quick enough. Heroin was like, all right, this is good. Like it was like alcohol bump and set, and then heroin spiked it down. Like he's like, here we go. So that's why I'm like so I'm a retired drunk and retired junkie. I'm both of those. So like, because also what happened is, because I went to rehab and got off of heroin, but I was in San Antonio, and there's nothing to do in San Antonio but drink, really.
Yeah, I'm from San Antonio originally.
Yeah, there's nothing to do there but drink. I mean, it's just like, they say that about Austin, and it's true. Austin is like, the identity is built on being a day drunk.
Yeah.
But San Antonio, there really is nothing to do.
Yeah,
it's just they're like, no, of course we drink.
Yeah, I said my parents actually, whenever I would go visit previously, would always have like a picture of margaritas, and that was the thing, is like I would drive up and they'd be waiting on the porch, and it's like, it's time.
Yeah, it's time.
And
Here we go.
And it was just always fun. I'm like, oh yay, family margaritas. Yeah. And then obviously later on, I was like, no, you don't understand. I can't anymore.
Right.
This is different.
Yeah. And that was the thing was. Also, people in San Antonio thought it was hilarious that because I went to rehab that was in San Antonio, and then I stayed because I had to get away from all my dealers and people here. And so it was really funny to people when I went, yeah, I came to San Antonio to get away from drugs. And they're like, are you out of your mind? And I'm like,
you went closer to the border?
I'm like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, yeah, but the difference is that I'm almost 40 and white. And I can't just walk around because it was funny because the sober house was actually on the west side of San Antonio, where a lot of the dealers are.
Yeah.
And they're like, really? Right in the middle? I'm like, yeah, but I can't just walk around and go, hey, do you have any of the heroin? Like, you can't, like I just walking around, like looking like me, I look like a narc. Like, I'm like, there's nobody, I don't have any connections here. Yeah. So that was fine. But but because of the progression of the alcoholism and everything else, even though I had switched over, did you ever stop drinking? Yeah, when I did heroin, because you can't do both of them. You die a lot.
Oh, okay.
You tend to OD several times when you do both.
Got it. I just didn't know if it was like mushrooms. I never drank because I'm like, your skin's already crawling. The idea of getting drunk on top of that is stupid to me. Yeah. So I didn't know if it was that, but you just physically
no, it'll shut you down.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that
because it's just two different depressants. Just like you'll OD quick.
Okay.
If you're drinking a lot and also doing heroin. But
learning so much from you.
So by the way, don't do both. But that was the thing, is that being in San Antonio, I had just started dishwashing. I have a degree, but I wash dish. I've been a dishwasher for like 7 years now.
Okay.
And
have you heard about that guy that like travels around? He was on like Letterman that does that.
Yeah.
It's a job you can get anywhere.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that it was very, very strange, and I'll talk about that in a second. But because I was in restaurant and cooks, being around cooks, and cooks are the same. I mean, they party hard.
Yeah. I mean, they're just getting drunk in the kitchen the whole time.
That's how they can tolerate making very little money working that hard, is that they're junkies and drunks too. But so I started drinking again after a while, and thinking, it's fine. But no, it doesn't matter. You go right. It's weird how you go right back to the progression. Like you get so bad, and then you stop, and then you're like, oh, maybe I'm fine again. But no, you're not. For some reason, you get there really quick.
Yeah, I'm only 3 years in, and I've had the I'm fine moment multiple times.
Yeah.
So 3 years into the last time I quit. I quit multiple times for like
Right.
a month or 2 weeks or whatever the thing was.
Sure.
But and so I have that I'm fine. I'm like, no. That's what you've told yourself every time.
Right.
But it's hard. I don't know how to cancel. I mean, besides just slapping myself in the face and saying no, there's not something to make the I'm fine stop coming up randomly.
Right. That's one of the tools. One of the different things that they use in different types of recovery programs, whether it be 12-step or I can't remember the name of the one that I used in the second rehab I went to, but where you like go back and like you analyze your thought process, and they always say that the play the tape out kind of thing, which is a really outdated term, but just the whole idea, because it's very easy to remember all the good shit and to go, man, it really feels good after a bad day.
That was fun.
To have that first out, it's like, oh yeah, you do miss those first couple hours. Do you remember the last 2 hours? Do you remember how that ended up? Also, what kind of truck did you flip? What was it?
Silverado. I was lucky. It was a massive, huge truck, so it wasn't like I should have died.
Yeah.
And I mean, even the cabin was totally crushed in.
Damn.
So basically, I from what I was told, I skidded into the ditch. It was like a ditch into somebody's yard. So I kind of skidded into the ditch, freaked out, pushed the gas instead of the brake. So then I hit a pipe under there, which flipped me back out of the ditch. And it kind of it rolled a little bit. And so I ended up with the truck upside down. Neighbors came out because I was less than a block from my house. I'd almost made it.
Right.
Neighbors came out. I somehow crawled out of the car. They don't understand how, and was yelling at them, "Don't call the cops! I'm fine. Don't call the cops." As if,
I got this.
Yes, it was as if it was an option.
Right. Don't worry, I'll get this home. My truck's upside down. No, I got it.
No, I got it. It's cool.
I know a guy.
And it was complete. I told it was smashed, and the ambulance people didn't understand how I even got out of it because it was so completely crushed.
Yeah. By the way, anybody listening to this, the sound in the background is my cat Sid.
Hi, Sid. Sid just walked in.
Sid is short for Siddhartha, but unless you're talking to my mom, and then it's short for Sydney because I don't want to have a Buddhism conversation with my mother.
He's like, "You're talking about drugs?"
Yeah. Can I help? All right.
So truck, why were we asking?
Because the truck that I rolled was a Ford Ranger, and those things are shitty. And they don't handle well. Like those smaller Ford Rangers, and I rolled that truck like 3 times.
Oh my God.
It was just like also in a ditch.
Yeah.
So
maybe they should just outlaw ditches instead.
Yeah, I don't know that one was strange because talk about lucky. Because it was a single car accident and it was out, you're not from Austin, but there's like this big bridge on Loop 360 on the west side of Austin. It's out there, lakes and everything. Okay. And it was right before the big bridge. Luckily, it was not on the bridge or into the water. But,
oh my God!
Yeah, but the Travis County sheriffs maintain that area, as opposed to Austin PD. So Travis County sheriffs don't have a quota. Okay. They're not. Austin PD at the time, and probably still, they like to make money off of alcohol arrests. So I didn't even get arrested it was a single car accident. So they took me to the hospital. I didn't get arrested.
Shut up, Lucky.
Yeah.
I was in jail with a concussion for like 20 hours.
That's so wrong.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I was really lucky with that, but I wasn't lucky. I mean, I've been arrested 8 times. So
yeah.
I
don't have genius. That one.
Yeah. Now the 8th time was not an offense. It was being taken into custody because I was on felony probation for the 3rd DUI, and I got arrested for public intoxication at my 20-year high school reunion in a small town, which is Luling, which is like 5,000 people. Do you know? I know Luling. Yeah. You know how hard it is to get arrested in a town of 5,000? It's apparently very easy. But
oh my God!
For me, I was in my.
What were you doing?
I was in the front yard of my mom's house, and that's the thing. That's
questionable.
That's how drunk I was. Is they took me 14 miles to jail in Lockhart, which is 14 miles away. They took me 14 miles there instead of walking me 14 feet to my mom's house.
But if you're in the yard, how is that public intoxication?
Because I was yelling at people in the street. They tell me, which I believe. I'm not going.
Private property, I think.
Yeah, but not when you're out in the street. I'm pretty sure I was out in the street because I didn't want to smoke in the yard. I don't know.
So after
didn't
all
make
those trucks, it was sitting in a yard that got you.
Yeah, that was that revoked my probation, and then so I spent 6 months in county.
Oh my
5
God.
months of that was a Travis County treatment program, which is like jail light. Mm-hmm. It's like, hey, read this literature, and we're gonna have and you get basic cable. Like that was their treatment program. But so that was my. I don't know. You had basic cable. And the thing is that 5 months in treatment in jail, like 6 months away from everybody, that solidified my not drinking anymore. And also it cured me of watching TV. Like I came out of there, I was like, I don't want to watch any more. I'm not watching any more sitcoms. I'm not watching any more TV. I'm not watching any more reality shows. Like it cured me of.
I feel like every time I went to go see my probation officer, you know how they have the TVs like in the waiting room?
Yeah.
It was always like Windy or one of those morning shows that people watch. And I'm like, why? I feel like it's just for like government offices. Maybe doctors' offices too.
Yeah, they have them in like when you go visit any kind of
Or
doctor.
like The Doctors is playing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't know who bored housewives and people going to medical appointments. That's the only thing I can. And people going to see their POs, I guess.
I love that helped you.
Yeah.
That's great news.
That's really the thing is when people ask me, how do you, because they found out that I didn't, because I tried AA several times, but I think what I've told people is that if you think that you're too smart for AA, either if you're too smart for AA, but really if you think you're too smart, it goes back to the mental thing. If you can't buy into the bullshit, it's not going to work.
It does. Yeah, it doesn't do it.
No.
I actually didn't go to AA at first. I just started going to meetings. I quit without meetings because I was in that place of like, no, I don't want to do all that. I always just heard, that's God stuff, whatever. And so yeah, it was a while into it before I wanted to try it. And even then, I was just traveling for work show stuff.
Right.
And so it was more of like I'm kind of lonely. I don't have anybody to talk to. I heard there's always meetings, and
right.
I found out I really liked it.
Yeah, and well, it's one of those things with that when you realize that it's more of a there isn't because from the outside point of view it looks kind of cultish because they all use the same language. Mm-hmm. But that's just what we do. It's the same catchphrases and the same thing. It just happens. And also, yeah, the higher power thing really freaks people out.
A lot of people, yeah.
And I think that's nitpicky. I think that it's really not that. I think it's just one of those things that they haven't reformed any, like changed anything. Mm-hmm. I mean, they haven't. It's been 80 something years.
Yeah.
It's been around.
And they changed the verbiage to higher power like later on because it used to be God, I guess.
Right.
God everything. And it's like, okay, whatever your thing is.
Right. And I think higher power still needs to be changed. I don't know what they need to say, but they just need to point out that the whole point is that you're not able to do this on your own. Mm-hmm. Like just willpower.
Yeah.
You got to, it's outside of yourself kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Which is absolutely true. However, being completely powerless is also a bullshit thing because if you're completely powerless, then you've got no chance at all.
Why bother? Yeah, that's actually a really good friend of mine has never been to meetings, and that is his thing, which I totally get. He's like, I don't want anybody to tell me that I'm powerless. And so nothing else they say has any value to him at all because how fucking dare you say that I'm powerless.
Yeah, fuck you. Yeah, and that's that thing that we have. They're like, fuck you, I got this.
Yeah.
You can't tell me what to do. Yeah, it's that you can't tell me what to do kind of thing going on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's the story of my life. God damn it. Now I'm like, just fucking tell me. I'm tired of trying to figure it out.
But I love when anybody, because I'll try to give advice as much as possible, or really the biggest thing to do is to listen to people when they need to get it out and to relate and go, no, I got you.
Yeah, that's my biggest thing is hearing other people being like, okay, I'm not a psycho, basically.
Right, because the advice thing is weird because I can't tell people. I'm like, well, let me tell you what I did. Mm-hmm. I didn't die and stayed alive till about 40, and then I went to jail for 6 months. So if you can do that, I'm like, that's not a recovery program everybody needs to go out and try. That's just how it happened.
That's why I love doing this, by the way. I've just started this podcast.
Yeah.
And in my head, at first, the idea was like, oh, we're trying to like break this common misconception that like that most artists have about this one thing.
Yeah.
And then everybody I talk to, like, nobody has the same fucking story.
Right.
Everybody's is so completely different. So it's not even about misconceptions anymore. It's like, okay, what the fuck happened to you? Just talk about that.
Yeah. I've always been curious about finding out how, when people when you find out somebody's sober is like not so much the story. Everybody wants to hear the really fun self-destruction stories because that is the most interesting. I get that, but I'm at the point in my life now where I'm more interested in how did you do it? Like what, how did you like this is going to sound crazy, but what I ended up doing instead of following the 12 steps is I did a combination of the Eightfold Path of Buddhism, like I handpicked, and then concepts from Fight Club, which sounds crazy.
That sounds amazing.
That's why I have like the Fight Club like art and different things, and like an insane person, I actually have a copy of Fight Club with like highlighted
that's amazing
things in it, like it's my Bible because
it's feature notes on the side.
Yeah, well, you can tell because I mean I'm that age. I'm 44, so when that came out, it really I was one of those people that had a office job in a marriage that I was unhappy in. So it really it was like that in the movie Office Space, which is why I became a dishwasher. I basically did what Peter does at the end of Office Space, goes and does a physical labor job instead of being in a cubicle. And that's why I still do it after 7 years. I mean, at some point I'm going to go, my back hurts, and probably, but.
But right now it's about freedom, and you're focusing on what you're doing and not on trying to build up a company, basically.
Yeah, so I basically just took little, like and when I say Fight Club, I mean, obviously the first half, not the, downward spiral, Project Mayhem, let's destroy the world part, but more just the changing your life and getting out of the...
passages?
Let me see.
That is really interesting.
If I don't fall all the way, I can't be saved. I can't just abandon money and property and knowledge. This isn't a weekend retreat. If you lose your nerve before you hit the bottom, you'll never really succeed. And it's only after you've lost everything that you're free to do anything.
Oh,
and
my
goes,
God.
what you're feeling is premature enlightenment. That kind of stuff, like, which is, in the movie, anybody's seen it, but like that, but when you look at it from a point of view, especially when you go to rehab and you've just lost everything for the second time, for me, it was like, holy shit, I did it again. But the thing is that when I went to jail for 6 months, like I was in this small apartment, like renting a room from a guy, and I didn't have much anyway. So the second time around losing things, it wasn't that big of a deal. They were revoking my probation, so I had to turn myself back into Austin. So like I had to come back to Austin to go to jail. So I left my life in San Antonio, came back, got locked up for 6 months, and I was locked up for my birthday, for Halloween, for Thanksgiving, for Christmas, for New Year's, for Valentine's Day. Like all of that, which, let me tell you, it's one of the best Christmas holidays ever because I didn't have to buy anybody gifts. I didn't have to see anybody, and people mailed me books. So I read like 30 books. Well, like, and I had stopped drinking about a month before I went in at some point. I don't know my exact sobriety date. I made it my mom's birthday because I went to jail on my mom's birthday.
So happy birthday, Mom.
Yeah, so that was my sobriety date so that her birthday, it would be another year my sobriety every time.
Yeah, I kind of generally made mine up. I know when it was, but honestly, it had not stuck so many times that there was not like this, like I just was like, it's not going to be an important date.
Right. So yeah,
That's
it was
so interesting.
but that was the thing is that so that kind of concept, like when looking at Fight Club because people read different things into that movie because you can, but when you look at it from a point of view of all right, I'm at bottom, I don't have anything, nothing's tying me, I can do whatever I want now. let's start over and let's rebuild from that point. And that's, also you have 6 months to do jack shit. Let's figure things out and let's just be alone with you and your thoughts and moving forward. So that was, I think that
sounds like a gift.
It really was. It really was. I mean, that's where I just like started over, and this is even crazier. And I'm that my biggest problem, because I was a nerdy kid growing up. Mm-hmm. So being cool really meant a lot to me.
I understand,
like more important than anything in the world.
Stories for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's what hooked me with the bar life, because I was addicted to bars more than I was alcohol.
Yes.
You know what I mean, right?
I absolutely know what you mean. Yes. I grew up in San Antonio. I started on the north side, where I was the only brown girl, because that was like the white side.
Right.
So I was made fun of up there, moved to the southwest side, where then I was the coconut white girl because I didn't speak Spanish. So then they didn't like me.
Right.
And then got into high school, became all super goth because I was super depressed.
Right.
2 suicide attempts.
Damn.
And then moved to Florida, then to Houston. Totally, basically, was like, I'm going to be this totally different person.
Yeah.
And then suddenly had friends. And I was like, what the fuck is going on here?
Right.
I started performing and suddenly I'm doing this bar thing and I'm taking pictures with people and oh my God. And my mailing list hit 50 people and I was like, Lindsay Lohan, Downward Spiral. I couldn't handle having friends.
Right. No.
And yeah,
absolutely.
it was that, oh my God, I get to go to this place and I'm talking to all of these people and we're getting drunk and we're having a good time. And oh my God, they like me.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah. And I think because that was, the performing and all of a sudden feeling like a rock star, even though you don't have rock star money, which is never good. Rock star lifestyle without the money.
So were you drinking a lot before you started stand up, or what was the chronological?
The stand up that I had done before moving to Austin was summer camp stuff, talent shows.
Okay.
Doing different things, which, I just destroyed every time I did any kind of dumb talent show or any kind of thing. I'm like, look how hilarious I am. So doing it in a actual comedy club in front of people who don't give a shit, that was a little sobering. It's but they both started off. I drank and partied in college, but they both happened about the same time, so they were connected together.
Okay,
was the you're drinking at home while you're writing and stuff and getting ready, and then you have a couple of drinks before you get on stage, and then it's just infused. They're together,
and then once you're off stage, I can drink because I'm done now.
Now I'm done. Yeah. Now I can really start drinking. Yeah. So they were together, but I think the thing that the enjoying being cool or wanting to be cool so bad, the thing that really solidified why I'm going to be sober 6 years in September is I was able to convince myself that I'm at the age where it's way cooler to be an ex-junkie. Mm-hmm. It's like that guy used to do heroin, now he's all, like an urban monk, kind of a thing. Like that to me was way cooler than being the 40-something-year-old in a bar that's still there.
Yeah.
That guy where the, like Stanhope says, the bar always stays 22, no matter how you get older, but the bar is always 22 years old.
Yeah.
And it just going, and just the idea of people looking at me going, ugh.
Yeah, that's so interesting. So actually, my second birthday that I had after not drinking.
Right.
The first one was I didn't even have time to process things because it was just constant, don't drink.
Yeah.
So I didn't have any insight for the first year, and then afterwards I started fucking 15 years worth of learning how to handle emotions and feelings all came rushing to my head.
Right.
So it was intense. But so it was the second birthday.
That sucks, doesn't it?
Oh my God, I have to feel my feelings. Yeah. I don't know how to do that.
Suddenly you're mourning people that have been dead for years. It hits you that people are dead.
Yeah.
That you're missing different people and you're like, I never dealt with this. Yeah, all that kind of shit.
All of it comes rushing, and it's been bizarre. Like, I'm still in that process where I'm like, I'm 34 and I'm just learning, you know, what is being sad?
Right.
It's been a lot, but then it's also like this super fast forward where, like, because I'm learning these things, then when something happens, like, it's like a little domino thing knocks over my head. I'm like, oh, because this happened, because my dad said this, because that's why I feel this way right now. Got it.
Yeah.
It's bizarre. But so yeah, second birthday, I kind of had like a breakdown because previously I would throw these massive parties, you know, and there would be like piñatas filled with tequila and like strippers and bouncy houses, and like I always wanted to like create these things.
Right.
That was part of my job. I loved it.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I don't know what to do if that. I tried it that first year just to prove I'm not different, and it sucked because I made this awesome thing for everybody but me. I hated it. So then the next year I was like, I don't know what to do and how to, which turned into a whole like mind fuck of who am I? What am I doing anymore?
Right.
I don't even know what I am. And one of my very best friends, Honey, actually, when I was texting her all this stuff, and she was like, your aspirations are more than, man, that girl can rage. And that's what it was for the longest time. That was the goal, was being that girl.
Yeah.
But yeah, realizing that you're like, no, I think it's way cooler to be this other person. I'm happier being this other person. This means more. That's kind of what I got. Because it's like, I could keep going that way, but I'm going to be that washed up girl flashing people at the bar, you know, because Journey comes on and they're like, okay, grandma, put your shirt down.
Right.
That's not cool at a
That's
certain
not
point.
cool. Yeah. You're like, oh, man.
You know who I'm talking about.
I do know who you're talking about. Yeah.
That was my other option.
It's like, I see where this is going. Yeah.
Okay, so Fight Club. I just think that's amazing because everybody else I've been talking to has been very like, just honestly just naming different programs or books.
Right.
And that's a completely different one. I haven't heard that one yet from anybody.
Fight Club changed my life twice. Like it was, you know, it changed my life at the time because it was what made me think about that I didn't want to just sit here in the suburbs in a marriage I wasn't happy with, doing this and not, you know, just kind of being occasionally I'll do comedy about one, you know, I'll go out about once every couple of weeks and eventually stop doing it. And, you know, maybe, you know, I guess I live in the suburbs now and I guess I'm a husband, maybe someday father. I don't know. This is just like, and I didn't want it because I got married when I was 25. Like I started a little early. Like I didn't
That's late for San Antonio.
Right. No, it's late for a lot of people. But for me, I think if I would have, self-destruct, because that was the thing, is that getting married actually put self-destruction on hold for me. So I didn't, you know, I think that's what happened. I think it stopped it and let me, you know, it's like self-destruction interrupted. I don't know. But that movie and then the book, just the idea of, you know, this is your life and it's ending 1 minute at a time kind of thing. Just from that kind of point of view, like, okay, I'm not going to start beating up my friends to, you know, I'm not going to literally follow this, but I can't just sit. It started my mental process of getting out of the situation that I had put myself in by just going along with the flow. Like and I didn't make good decisions. Like I didn't work on my marriage. I waited till it was a breaking point because I got 2 DWIs in 2 months.
Oh, wow.
Which if you're going to get 2 DUIs, that's the best time because you haven't been convicted for the first one yet. So then they just kind of put them both together.
Oh my God.
I'm not recommending you get arrested twice, but if you got to get 2 DUIs, try to do it together.
See, okay, I always would say probation sucked so goddamn much.
Yeah.
That I would always say, I don't understand how people do this more than once.
Right.
And yet you did.
Yeah.
Not that I quit drinking. Like I said, I did all the things, but I was just on Google seeing, you know, how long does Coke stay in your system?
Right.
Like I was just trying to plan my stuff out.
Yeah.
But just, yeah, even before I quit drinking, I knew I was never going to drink and drive because it was just so goddamn awful to have to answer to somebody.
Yeah.
That's bananas to me.
Oh,
You
I
did
got
that twice or 3 times.
Man, I was, not to sound like a bitter old man, but when the fact that ride shares like Lyft and Uber came out after I got sober, that's so infuriating to me. I'm like, you got to be fucking kidding me. You mean you can get home for $5 now? I'm so angry. Like, just so upset that that's the way it's gone down.
We're talking about money grab stuff. In Houston, they got rid of Uber and Lyft for a little while, and they were talking about how like DWI, DUIs, it went down like something crazy, like 70%.
Yeah.
They left, it went right back up, and it was like, can you? This is a safety issue. Can you please not, just for the money that you're losing?
Right.
It's ridiculous how much it saved people.
Yeah, it's yeah. So that was kind of frustrating. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? It's like these kids today. But
So did you, when you quit, did you know anybody that was sober? Because that's also part of what I think is interesting is I only knew one person.
Yeah.
And so it did not, it was lovely, Mr. Andy Huggins, who I talked to earlier. Do you know Andy by chance?
I do know. Oh, no, I don't. I know. I absolutely know who Andy Huggins
is.
But
you know, I don't know if you like
I've met him once.
Okay, so Andy was the only sober person I had ever met, which was amazing.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'm like a 25-year-old stripping clown. Like, I did not, like, relate to, like, 70-year-old Andy, you know?
Ma'am. Yeah. Like yeah, right.
So it didn't seem like it was an option for a really long time. I'm like, no, being sober that's not a thing that people do.
Right. And
so I know that had a lot to do with it. So I'm always interested in knowing if people had, like, did you have other friends or comics or anybody that you knew?
Not comics. I made some friends in the rehab in San Antonio, and I made some friends in the SMART program is what it's called in Travis County. So I did make friends of those, but I'll tell you, the thing about it was being locked up with terrible people at their worst. That was basically, and then when I got out, so that was 6 months in Travis County. Then I lived in a sober house for probably 8 months.
Okay.
So I was, again...
So you were like immersive.
Yeah, so I was around people struggling. Like, I was around them way too much. Like, I was like, I don't want to be around these people. And I realized I'm also one of these people, but I don't want to be around me this much. Like, I don't want to be around, you know, I was doing really well, and I was around people who were not doing well because they were struggling.
Yeah.
Some of them. And so by the time when a comedian buddy of mine who lived here in this apartment that we're recording in, that like before he moved to New York, he needed to save money. So he got a roommate. So he got me to come here. So I've been here in this apartment for 4.5 years. Because of that, like by that time I'm like, I want to be around normal people, or I want to be around normies. I'm done. Like I've got it. You know,
but was it weird then being around normal people? Because I mean, they're going to drink. You know, they always, can I drink around you?
Well, and that was the agreement I had with my friend Blake, is that the agreement was, he goes, I don't bring booze home. I drink out there. He goes, and I promise I won't do coke here. And I went, okay, good. Okay. I'm like, and my immediate reaction was, I'm not a coke guy, but but also, oh, thank you. Oh, he's being considerate. That's a good idea. Yeah. But I don't know. It was the first, like I didn't go out and do comedy for but I started getting back into comedy, and that's why I was ready to be around regular people. But the thing is that it still took me another year or two to understand what being social was. Like I just couldn't. I would go, and it never. I used to use the excuse that like I got to get out of here, and they're like, oh, he's thinking about drinking. No, I just find people annoying now. Like
That's
I'm just
exactly
like,
what Andy told me.
That's like, exactly, yeah.
He's like, I get an escape now. It's great.
It's like, I gotta go. I'm thinking about drinking. That's not really it. It's like, you guys are really fucking annoying, and the only way I can be around you assholes is if I'm drinking. Like I gotta be. I'm like, you guys are really bugging the shit out of me. Yeah. I'm gonna go. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a great excuse, and I'm like, to not have to see. Hey, we're gonna do. No, I can't do it, man. You know, it's kind of triggering / I don't want to. Yeah. That sounds terrible. Oh no. no way
But
am I
it's-
going to do that.
You have to like learn how to talk to people all over again, and that's
Yeah.
something I didn't know how
Yeah.
to do. And see, I
That
was
sucks so bad.
oh my god, yeah, because it's so. I'm like, I don't fucking strangers. I'm like, how do you speak to each other if you're not like holding each other's hair back in the restroom? That's a girl restroom thing, but like, so I did the opposite thing.
Yeah.
And I feel like I fucked up because everybody else tells me they kind of did what you did, where they kind of stepped away and then they could kind of dabble in.
You just kind of ease in, yeah.
I so associated drinking with my persona
Yeah.
that when I quit, I was like, no, I'm not going to be different. I'm not going to be one of those assholes.
Right.
And so I went to bars just as much, if not more, to still keep doing what I was doing to prove it wasn't going to change me. It wasn't going to change my life. This is
Yeah.
the thing I'm just choosing to do.
Yeah.
So I was at bars and shows and clubs all the time, hating my fucking life because I'm like, I don't know how to do this. I don't like these people. I don't know and I was so in my head,
Right.
fucking hating everybody around me.
Just resenting everybody. You normal drinking motherfucker. Like, it's just not.
Prove that I could do it. And I still don't really know how to talk to people at all. I kind
Yeah.
of just always like I need a bubble of people I actually know around me so that I have a buffer and then can slowly be like, oh, hello, and who are you?
I think the one of my biggest criticisms I have about a rehab that's like not a 90-day rehab. 30-day rehabs are bullshit, but like a 90-day like honest rehabs is, I think, pretty effective because it gets you away from all that shit to where it brings your thoughts back. And what they're doing to you for 90 days is trying to pull the honesty out of you because you've been lying to everybody and to yourself.
Yes.
You're pathological as fuck. And you're just, so they break you down and they get you, you know, in therapy, whether it's individual or group or whatever, you start becoming really like honest but almost too honest. And then they throw you out. And then after like the certain amount of time, then it's like, well, we got to get you back out there. But they don't pull the honesty back. So then they throw you out to, you know, a society that lies to itself to get by, where people cover up their feelings with small talk, which, I mean, you need to. You can't have everybody super honest all the time. That's insane. But
I'm trying.
Yeah, but you're the one. So you're going out and they're like, how are you today? And I'm like, oh, I'm just struggling with the inevitability of my own death. Yeah, I'll have a latte. Like you're just talking to a barista and you're just being a dick because it's just like, oh, have you ever thought about it? Is there anything out there? Yeah, cream. Like, it's just, you don't want to do that. It took a while to kind of wheel back. Oh, maybe I shouldn't tell people I'm a heroin addict, like in the first 30 seconds of meeting them. Maybe that's not a good idea.
You are blowing my fucking mind right now because I thought it was just because I was a performer.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, it's fine. I'm just super honest because it's my job to be honest on stage. So when I'm off, I just am that. And now you're making me realize
It might be a little bit of that.
it's actually just.
It's probably both. Like it's a dangerous combination that we're like, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just like, no, that's just, I'm going through all this stuff right now. And I'm thinking about like my 3 exes right now and how fucked up they were, but also, hi. Oh, man.
Yeah, but also, hello. Yeah.
Yeah. But okay, I do have to say, and I totally agree because I think that if you're like trying to be functional at a regular job,
Yeah.
you're not gonna with that mentality. And I totally get it.
Right.
But in just regular, I don't know, social coffee and all that different stuff modes, I love it because I think that like other people start to break down because they're so confused by how completely honest you are.
Right.
I think there's a thing that's like, oh, well, and then maybe, I don't know if the heroin thing, being open and honest about that was a long time the stripping clown thing.
Yeah.
I think it was so goddamn stupid that people knew I couldn't judge them. Like it was not possible, or at least they assumed.
Right.
And so they would be completely honest about dumb shit or anything with me because a fucking naked clown can't judge them.
Right. Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's like, there is that. That's, Yeah, I think pulling back. I think it's not so much pulling back on honesty. I think it's pulling back on using judgment as to when to not be abrasive. I think that's more the thing. But I like remaining honest because it's easier. Mm-hmm. You're not lying. You don't have to remember lies. You can just go, yeah.
So I'm still in the process of, by the way, this podcast is also partly my therapy where I'm like, hey, you've been sober longer. Explain this to me.
Yeah. No, it's good.
So I am still in the like, lie to myself. And then later on, oh, wait.
Yeah.
That's that thing I'm doing. And so I'm catching it, which is great.
That is good. Yeah.
So I got sober while in a relationship.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So then we broke up, and I was like, no, I'm not going to go back to drinking, honestly, because I'm not going to give him that fucking power kind of thing.
Yeah.
And see, I'm spiteful with everything.
Spiteful sobriety.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck you. I'm not drinking. Yeah, I'll show you. I'm not going to destroy my life. That'll teach him.
It made sense at the time, I promise.
Hey, whatever works, you know?
So it's, I don't know, whatever it is, 10, 11 months out of that, right? Mm-hmm. And so I went through like depression afterwards, then out of depression, and then like I don't know how to date sober.
Oh,
I never did that. I don't know. I never went on dates. I like met a guy at a bar. We fucked. I never saw him again, or I saw him for like 5 years.
Right.
That's how I dated. So I don't know how to do that thing, which has been very weird for me.
Yeah.
I went on my first like date thing with someone. Anyway, it didn't matter. He was like, "Hey, want to go for coffee?" I was like, "Fine, let's get this over with."
Yeah.
Did that. Went to a dinner thing afterwards. This is so TMI. Went to a dinner thing afterwards. Ended up like, okay, I remember how to kiss. I think I remember how to kiss. I can do this. Forced myself to make out with him in the car because I was like, I can do this, goddammit. But it was like a mind fuck of like drunk me would have had my hand down his pants already. What's wrong with me? I don't remember how to fuck. I don't remember how to do any of these things. Who am I anymore?
Right.
And then like the next day, it hit me like, oh, I don't like him.
Oh, that's what it is. There's no chemistry there.
None at all. But it was like all that entire night, like an existential crisis of like, do I even remember how to have sex anymore? I don't know how to do this thing. Who am I? All that stuff. And it took like 24 hours for me to realize I just am not attracted to somebody.
Yeah. No, I can totally relate to that. That's it. I'm just telling you my problem. No, that's because there was a couple of times where I was hanging out with someone, and I'd been sober for a couple of years, but there was a couple of times that they were obviously very attractive, mm-hmm. but there was no chemistry. Mm-hmm. So I thought there was something wrong with me.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm like, oh man, is my libido gone already? Which there is a little bit of that because I'm in my 40s, but no, it was chemistry.
Yeah.
It was, just not being able to do that at all. And so I was, I'm approaching a 1 year relationship with my girlfriend, but before that, I was single for 3 years. And
you don't know how to do that. You don't know what chemistry feels like because you're not drunk. That's what chemistry was before.
Right. And also the online dating thing was bullshit. I was just like, man, Tinder doesn't work for sober people. What the fuck?
Very first question, want to get a drink?
Yeah.
Very first fucking question.
I'm just like, and also I found out, coming back into, because dating for me was also like hooking up because of something that happened in a bar and just kind of like casually not paying attention, and all of a sudden I'm talking to a girl, and all of a sudden we're hanging out, mm-hmm. and then and then going, oh, I'm in a relationship. Okay, this is how that happens. Yeah. Like so trying to overthink it, and then trying online dating, and I found out because I asked a friend, female comedian friend of mine, and I was like, why? What's this thing with Tinder? Why do I get all these matchups and then they don't message me and they're like, oh no, they're doing it for it's for like self-esteem. It's like they're doing it for likes. Oh, like people will swipe right and they're like, oh, look at all these guys that match up with me. I don't want to talk to them. And I'm like, holy shit,
that is so mean.
Goddamn new generation with their
that is awful. cool.
I didn't know that was a thing, but apparently that's a thing. But
just self-esteem boost.
But also, I was way too honest on my profile because I didn't want to go through that. But I was still getting. That's people that don't. I went on I went on one date from Tinder, and she absolutely did not read anything that I wrote on there. And I went, and I could tell because I was like talking to her, and we were having coffee, and I told her that I was a dishwasher. That I didn't drink, and I could see her checking out in her eyes. Oh, no. And I was like, yeah, this is not gonna work. And then about 10 minutes later, she told me that she couldn't wait to start working in an office again. Like she wanted to be part of an office. Like she was working from home and also volunteering at a nonprofit. Both the things that I'm like, that's fucking awesome. But she was tired of it and wanted to go back to working to an office. So I did that to her. I did that thing with my eyes and I checked out and went, man, fuck this. So we're like, oh, okay, well, I guess message me. Yeah, sure. Yeah. We didn't message each other, but that was funny that I completely got turned off from her as like she did me. And I was like God. Wait, you like an office? All right. Yeah, good luck with all that. Ugh.
Yeah, I don't know. But my profile says like don't drink, but I also don't think, like I said, a lot of people don't read the things because I get the hey, I want to get a drink message, and so I just turned them off. I'm like, this is fucking stupid.
Yeah, you can tell. I can't believe nobody's going to want to get a topo, at least that way.
That would require them reading it.
Right.
That's the thing. No one's reading the thing.
No one's reading.
Yeah, I just turn it off. So I'm just trying to just accept being alone forever, I guess. Yeah. That's like the stage I'm in right now. I'm like, oh, okay, just this sucks.
That's what I retired. I said, well, I guess I'm retired. I guess this is, I don't have to do this anymore. You know what? I was like, that's fine. I don't need any of that.
Yeah.
I had a good run. That was exactly, and the thing is that's when it always, at least for me, it's always when I'm not looking. Mm-hmm. But you can't go, I'm going to not look like
shifty eyes,
waiting for
I'm not looking for
that matchup because I'm not looking.
Yeah.
But it is when you just like going, I'm fine.
Yeah. So okay, I assume it's harder for a guy, at least in today's current climate. Because I'm fine, like if you drink, I don't care. Is my thing. I'm like, yeah. I mean, I don't want to like babysit somebody, but like if a guy drinks, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
But I also don't have the fear of being accused of rape because you were drunk and I was sober and we had sex.
Yeah.
So that's not, thankfully, something I hope I'm going to have to deal with. So that I imagine for sober guys is a whole nother level that they've got to factor in. I don't know if that's something you had to deal with or not.
I did not have to deal with that, luckily.
Okay, good.
But that's a really interesting question about the thought because I have like thought about like a lot of guys, I'm assuming, have thought about themselves in the past with the Me Too movement and like thinking about things in the past and luckily I don't have any moments of going,
yeah.
But I have moments of, things that like bar hookups that like at no point was the thought of, I mean, we're both active in this decision, but how drunk are we? Like that kind of like, it's just a different, it was a different time, but also a different mindset. It's just where you're thinking about it, and I'm like, boy, I'm really glad that I'm not like who I was.
Yeah,
and I was out of control. Just just doing whatever.
Yeah, I definitely I have super mixed feelings about everything because there's a lot that I'm like, yes, absolutely, these things have been problems that need to change and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I also. When it comes to when both people are drunk, and it is consensual at that point, the idea that can still be put under the same category, like we need a different phrase, I think, is a problem. I think this is like a terminology situation to say that can still be called rape is concerning to me.
Right.
And so I just think we need a different word for that. And especially when it's double consensual, like that's just so when I flipped the car, I couldn't say I was drunk, it wasn't my fault.
Right.
And yet if I do that, I'm allowed to say I was drunk, that wasn't my fault. That doesn't line up for me.
Yeah, I think that the pendulum has to swing, and I think that things have been fucked up for women for so long that this is the swing in the opposite direction.
Exactly.
To where it scares a lot of guys, rightfully so.
Yeah.
But also kind of fuck you guys. Like it's like oh no, things aren't your diamond-soled shoes are too tight, like that kind of shit.
Yeah.
But there is some legitimate concerns there, and I think that it's going to swing. It's swinging back. People are like going, hang on about a lot of things, and that's. But it's still a good thing.
Yeah,
it's just
absolutely.
It's just a matter
I actually use the pendulum thing often for it because I think that's
really?
exactly what it is. Yeah,
Nice.
I think it's exactly what it is, and that right now we are like super overcorrecting,
right?
And that's what's going to take us to the middle.
Yeah.
So, and I just am like, okay, come on, middle.
Come on, middle.
Yeah.
It's hard to be middle and reasonable with the current climate. Politically. Anyway.
I'd like to think most people are middle reasonable. They're just the quiet people because they're off living their lives.
Right.
I'd like to think.
Right. It's also one of the biggest frustrations, and this is totally off the topic, but one of the biggest things, and what I like about being honest in public, and just is people are really so goddamn smart online, aren't they? Because everybody has Google. Like whenever anybody posts something that's really knowledgeable, I go, oh, look, somebody can use a search engine really well. Because it's just, you don't see that kind of back and forth and just, informed conversation in person anymore.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, you don't have all those stats in your brain.
Yeah, I just, yeah, exactly. Let me tell you what I just read. Like, it's just, what the
Yeah.
And I'm waiting for that to, I don't know. It's just, I like being honest in public because I like people to get their nose out of their phone.
Yeah. I like telling people I
engage.
don't know. Like, even if mid-conversation...
Oh, that feels great,
oh,
doesn't it?
I love
It's
it.
like, yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah. Or, like, if people, like, mid-conversation use a word that I don't understand, I'm like, can you please define that? Like, I love being stupid. I'm like, let's talk about this thing now. Because, one, it's more conversation. But, two, like, I'm not afraid to ask. And I think that's why I learn so much more.
Right. That's how you learn. Instead of just parroting things that you'll forget the next day. It's like, I learned this for the hour that it takes to debate on a Facebook thread.
Unfortunately, I listen to a lot of podcasts, so most of my conversations or like statements start with, okay, so I heard on a podcast, don't remember which one, don't know if this is true.
Right.
But according to something...
This feels true. That
somebody
guy
one
said it.
time- And he said that he heard...
And he heard...
that this thing.
You know what? I trust his reading.
Yeah.
Cite your sources.
But I do...
Pod Save America podcast. That's not a source.
I started with all of that, though, because I do want it to be fair of this may not be true. But, like, by the way, in Austin, when I was here, I was like, oh my God, I haven't heard the... what do you call them? The bugs outside
the cicadas?
Yes. I haven't heard those in years, and they're so loud. I love it. An ex a long time ago told me about how that they're really crazy weird, and that they burrow underground for like 7 years before they are born or something. That sounds fake, so I'm scared to repeat that. But also, it would be fascinating if it's true.
I also have heard that.
Okay.
Yeah. I've heard that it's that they do that.
I like that we
but
both
I'm
are willing to admit we don't know.
No, I don't know. I just know that that's the sound of, God damn, it's hot. How do you know it's hot? Do you hear it? Just
It's like maracas outside.
Yeah, it's like, oh, that means it's hot as shit. That's what that means.
Okay, so since you quit, how did that change your comedy? Because I know that you said you started at the same time.
Here we go. Yeah, this is what we need to get to.
That's kind of the point.
I was like, this has been a great talk. Oh, yeah. Comedy.
Yeah. This has been the Cicada
Holy
podcast.
Shit. It was, man, it was weird. It was difficult trying to, because I hadn't performed sober
thank God. You're the first person who has said this, and I felt like a psycho because I thought everybody would like relate to this, where I'd never been sober until I legally had to be.
Right.
And everybody else was like, no, I was a lush. I was so, but on stage, of course, I would never do that. And I felt like an asshole.
No, like I hadn't. So it had been 18 years, something like that. I hadn't been, because I started doing comedy in a club in 1997. Mm-hmm. So from then until 2013, it was always alcohol involved. Maybe I took a night off sometime, and it probably didn't go well. But so it was weird doing it. Mm-hmm. Also realizing when I was getting back into it that I'm like, well, I can't do any of this goddamn material anymore. This is all related. Like just reading everything that I wrote for years and years related to booze and sex.
Yeah.
And sex on booze. Like but it just, and social commentary that doesn't make sense anymore because it's years later. Mm-hmm. So it's like starting over in that aspect. So it was kind of a weird adjustment.
Yeah.
I don't know. You do like you did before. You just have to keep going. And you have to keep sucking at open mic for a while. Like it felt like starting over. Also, I had dropped out of view of comedy because I really was into staying home and doing heroin. That is not a party drug. I'm staying home and nodding off. I'm going to do heroin at home. So I left view for a while, and then I did the rehab and everything else. So by the time I came back into the scene, it was 3.5 years later. Mm-hmm. It's a totally different scene.
Yeah, especially in Austin.
Yeah, nobody knew who I was, and I was like, who the fuck are all these kids? Like, I just didn't, it was like getting back into and having to prove yourself again, which was, you still got that ego. It's just like, I'm John fucking Rabon. Do you not know who I am? Mm-hmm. I used to rule just this club, but that's it. But in my head, the city. No.
Yeah.
But so that was, I don't know. It was.
Do you remember your first time sober on stage? Like, was it a thing?
I did. I did a headlining weekend at the Velveeta Room in 2010 when I was really trying to be sober. So I had taken a break from heroin. Mm-hmm. I was taking a break. I'm like, I got to take it easy. But so I actually did that sober, but I don't. But I was also kind of strung out, so I was kind of distracted. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't there. So I didn't give myself enough of that time for your brain to start working yet and overthinking everything.
Yeah,
that was really what it was. It wasn't the so much the not having booze in you, but more just the all of a sudden my brain's working again and overthinking things, and the feelings are coming, and having to deal with that, and the complete awareness that I didn't have. All of a sudden I'm aware of everything while I'm on stage, and I'm all like, who am I looking at? Who am I looking at? Like, where do my eyes go? I've been doing this so long. What do I look at? What did I do for 15 years? Who did I look at? I'm not going to look at that lady. She's looking at me. I don't think her arms are crossed. Oh shit, this sucks. Like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I realized, because there's that whole, I'm better drunk.
Right.
And after, it took me a long time to realize, I wasn't better. I just wasn't aware when someone wasn't laughing, or when I stumbled over a word, or I stuttered, or I put my foot in a weird place. I just didn't know those things were happening.
Right.
And now I fucking know.
Oh, I know.
And it drives me crazy, and everything is completely thrown off, and I go in the restroom afterwards and cry because, oh God, they saw it.
They saw it. They know. They all know, man.
Meanwhile, I should remember most of them are drunk, and so
they don't give it. Yeah, and they completely forget you. Like the you know, it's like at a mic, they're like, they don't remember. They just saw 15 people after you. They don't remember you.
I did though. This was
Sometimes.
so bizarre. I did a spot over this like sports bar, like almost an hour outside of Houston.
Oh, Jesus.
A couple of months ago, and this guy came up to me afterwards, and he's like, "Did you used to go up at Christian's Tailgate, which is like in downtown, open mic?" And I was like, "Yeah, like a long time ago." And he goes, "I saw the first time you went up." And I was like, "Oh, dear God." And he goes,
my
"Yeah,
God.
yeah. You were talking about bird rape." And I was like, not only do you remember me, you remember the fucking terrible thing. I know which set you're talking about. I know what you...
Oh, yes, that joke.
It was
oh, my God.
that bad. You remembered how awful I was.
That's, wow.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's ducks, by the way. They're very rapey.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay.
I've actually heard that. That's weird that I've heard that.
Oh, wait, on stage or?
No, that I
I was
just
like, who the
heard.
fuck is talking about ducks, too?
No, I just,
Yeah, they're super rapey, and they have corkscrew penises.
Damn, I've heard that as well. Mm-hmm. Thanks for reminding me of that. 'Cause I usually like ducks, but that does put them. That's you know what it was that was somebody knew that I really like ducks, and they're like, I don't. I'm like, why? And they told me because
Yeah,
because they're aggressive and they have like their dicks are like. I'm like, how does that affect what you think about ducks? But
me too. Hello.
oh. It's
No,
just weird.
it's really crazy. They are raped so much that the female ducks. No, see, I remember. I'm not getting into the bit. I'm just telling you science.
Right. No,
The female ducks have like multiple passageways with dead ends. So that way, if they are being forced upon by someone they don't want, they can kind of angle it so that
Jesus.
it goes into a dead end instead. Yeah. It's like a choose your own adventure book.
Holy shit. Man, I don't like
Yeah, it didn't land again. It's like a choose your own
Again.
adventure book.
It's like, oh, that's what. Oh,
It's like a choose your own adventure.
I get it. No, I get it. It's great.
It's still funny to me. Well, on that note, thank you so much, John. This has been fantastic.
We're going to end on bird rape. Is
Yeah,
that
we're
what
going to end on bird. I want to. I really do want
that's
to,
good.
actually.
No, that's good.
So outside of that, if people want to like follow you, find you, where can they find you online, socials, all that stuff?
My Instagram is a smoke puppet. That's all one word.
Okay.
Yeah, because in 1997 when I started drinking, you could smoke in bars, and a guy told me I was smoking a cigarette. A guy told me, you're a puppet of the tobacco industry, and I started gut laughing so much that I made that my username in 1997, and I've just kept it for 20 years. But anyway, so smoke puppet, all one word. My podcast is called Yes, I'm Still Sober.
Yes. We're definitely going to send people to that.
And then, I have a Twitter that I never use.
Yes, I found when I was trying to track you down, I saw that. I was like, he's not going to see this.
I'm like, I don't ever use Twitter. I think it's garbage, but I'm still there in case you want to follow me.
I'll follow you, John. I'll follow
All
you.
right.
So just throwing this out there, I might totally cut this out. I had a final ask because I listen to too many podcasts. They'll do like a final question that they ask all the guests.
Okay.
It sounds really forced when I do it, so I think I'm going to drop it. But I kind of like it. So, okay, do you want me to tell you the question so you can see how forced it is?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so final two questions.
All right.
Okay, if you could snap your fingers and people around the world instantly thought two things, what would it be? But one has to be for the good of humanity because we're good people. Other one has to be completely self-serving.
That everybody's life is hard,
Yeah.
not just your own. That empathy isn't a competition, that kind of thing. Yeah. And then the self-serve.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, it's not. You don't have to suffer more than somebody. You can have empathy for somebody who suffers, even if you've suffered more. It doesn't matter. Just because they haven't had it as hard, it's still hard. Life still sucks for people all the time.
Yeah. Is that
For all the
Buddhism or is
people.
that Fight Club?
That's a Rabonism. No, I don't know. Yeah, that's a combo. That's a combination.
Yeah,
the empathy is definitely comes from Buddhism, and just from life, I guess. And then the self-serving thing, I don't care.
That's the one people find difficult.
Dishwashing is sexy, everybody.
Okay, maybe I'll keep the questions. I like when I do when I like getting something that everybody has to answer.
Yeah,
because everybody's stories are so completely different.
No, I think
like
it's good.
having a thing, but sometimes I feel like it's like there's no way to ease into the question, asking the question.
Right. It's good. It's a good thing to, and also people like, kind of like the inside of the actor studio where they have the questions. What is your favorite curse word? What is your favorite? What's your least favorite word? What's your favorite word? Like people like.
They're
consistency.
waiting. The consistency, the pattern. They want to know what your particular thoughts on this thing are.
Also, that's the best way to. You have a thing that is the actual end of your podcast. Like this signifies the end.
Yeah. It's better than duck rape, probably.
I don't know. Depends on what you're into.
Thank you, John. I really appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
And when tomorrow comes around, I may be 6 feet underground, but I'll still have one more for now.
That was John. I hope you liked it. Is it so weird that I'm like, oh my God, I hope I find more heroin addicts. They're the best. I really liked him. I feel like I could talk to him a million more times and always get new and different stories. And maybe I will. He's clearly a pro. He's got his own podcast. It's called Yes, I'm Still Sober. I put a link in the show notes along with other stuff. He also brought up the SMART program, which is the second time this has come up already. I haven't done it. I know nothing about it, but I included a link in the show notes in case anyone's interested in a program but is totally turned off by AA's references to a, quote, higher power. I get it. Again, I have very little info on this program, but it's come up twice now, so I do intend on looking into it. What I do know is cicadas. You guys, I heard that story about them like 10 years ago and finally looked it up because of this podcast. Here's the thing. They hatch from an egg. They feed on tree fluids for a little bit. I don't even know what tree fluids are. They sound sticky and gross. They then fall to the ground where they dig until they find roots to eat. Depending on the species, they stay underground from 2 to 17 years. 17 fucking years. After 17 years hibernating underground, the cicadas emerge from the ground as nymphs, which I find hilarious because it's one letter away from nympho, which you should also wait 17 years to be. So they turn 17, climb a tree, shed their exoskeleton, and become an adult. So when you see those little shells, don't be grossed out. Be amazed and in awe of how incredible that is. The age of consent in Alabama is 16. It takes longer to be a rattling bug than it does to get fucked. That's amazing. Okay, this has been the Cicada Podcast with KiKi Maroon. Be sure to subscribe and rate it on iTunes, and I will be back next week. Bye.
Now it's the last call for heaven's train. If only you weren't too late.
Yeah, we got it.